Two SUVs from Tata Motors. Can you point out which is the Harrier and which is the Safari? Well, you actually might be able to, because this is the new one and it has red number plates, so it is an obvious giveaway. This is the Safari, that is the Harrier. In fact, that is my long-term test Harrier, something that I've driven all over the country and I really love. What are we going to tell you in this video? We are going to point out the differences between the Safari and the Harrier, and we're also going to find out whether these two are different in terms of their driving dynamics. Also, whether the Safari should have been called the Harrier XL, or is it worthy of the Safari badge? Visually, how different is the Safari from the Harrier? Well, from the front, these two are bang identical. The only real giveaway is the grille. So on the Safari, it gets Tata's Impact 2.0 3-pointed star, which is finished in chrome, whereas on the Harrier, it's in black. Otherwise, everything is the same. So the LED DRLs, the main running lamps, all of it is the same, even the bumpers. The differences are very small. So on the Safari, the lamps have this chrome surround and a different grey finish for the fog lamps, whereas on the Harrier, the fog lamps have the chrome surround and this is black. Also on the Safari, this fake sort of bash plate is in silver, and the Safari, if you actually bend down and notice, it's got a different bash plate from the Harrier. Otherwise, the front end bang identical. The differences only become visible when you move to the profile. First things first, the Safari, the top of the line versions, it gets 18-inch rims, whereas the Harrier's top of the line gets 17-inch rims. Curiously, both the 17 and 18-inch rims are identical in terms of the design, which is weird. If you have a bigger size rim, you make it look slightly different, right? But it's the same tire size and same design, but one size bigger. At the rear, big difference, the Safari has disc brakes at the back. On the inside, it doesn't have a manual handbrake now. It gets an electronic parking brake and hill hold assist. All of it is courtesy the disc brakes at the rear. And it is after the C-pillar that the Safari and the Harrier, they are different. In fact, in terms of the wheelbase, both the Safari and the Harrier are the same. The Harrier has a sort of chrome element at the bottom, which the Safari does away with. On the top, the roof rails. Now, this is the top of the line variant. It gets a panoramic sunroof. The versions without the panoramic sunroof, they get load-bearing roof rails. So you can put 130 kilos up there. So your cycles or a roof box, you can put it there, but don't option the panoramic sunroof if you want to put a roof box up there. And in any case, if you're putting a roof box, why do you need a sunroof? So from the rear quarters, this is where 60 millimeters has been added to the Safari over the Harrier. The Harrier has got that sloping coupe-like rear roofline, whereas the Safari is more straightforward, more rectangular. It looks good. There is no getting away from it. At the back, everything is different. So the hatch is different, the tail lamps are different, the bumper is different, fake surrounds for the exhaust, that is also different. And of course, Safari written bold and prominently, whereas on the Harrier, Harrier written bold and prominently. Otherwise, these two really look the same. It also has this, what Pratap Bose calls Easter egg, and I have to give it to the team. They've managed to make both the Safari and the Harrier look really good looking. If I were to pick, I would pick the Harrier because I don't need 7 seats. But if you want a 7-seater, the Safari, in my eyes, is the best looking 7-seater in this segment right now. And really credit to them, making both these cars look really eye-catching. Let's start with the Harrier. Now, this is my long-term test car. We've had it for, I think, 3 months now and put a ton of miles on it all over the country. The big question everybody has with Tata Motors cars is quality, longevity. We've really used it, really hammered it over everything, and there's not a single squeak, not a rattle. This still feels as good as when it first came to us for testing. So on that front, sorted. No more worries on Tata Motors quality or reliability. It has worked flawlessly, and in fact, we've deliberately asked for this car and deliberately used it all over the country because nothing really takes cross-country mile munching like the Harrier. when we drove down to Delhi for the Speedfest, we had a lot of equipment with us, not only for the track day, but because we were going to go up to Narkanda to the snows for our tripping with Lemon Tree Drive. The boot was packed to the roof. We were 4 people in the car, yet the Harrier did not squat on the rear. It did not feel flighty. The steering didn't feel too light because it was sitting on the rear suspension. It really did the drive extremely well, and that drive, it really sold me on the Harrier. So great to drive, great in terms of handling. Downsides, the steering, it is a bit too light at speed, so you want it to weigh up a little bit so it gives you a little bit more confidence. The infotainment, you want Apple CarPlay to be projected on the entire screen. Right now the icons are too small, so you can't use it without taking your eyes off the road and concentrating on it. And yeah, I can't think of anything else that I would want changing. This handbrake, little weird to use, but you get used to it. Otherwise, this thing really does work very well. The Harrier, like we all know, is only front wheel drive. This drive mode selector, it just alters the traction control settings, the ESP settings, but this is now off-roader. But when the roads do degenerate in front of you, the suspension is so robust, it can take everything in its stride. You don't really have to slow down for anything, and that makes it great for Indian highways because you never know when the road is going to fall apart in front of you. With the Harrier, you just hammer over everything, no problems at all. This is the 2020 update on the Harrier. So you get the panoramic sunroof, you get the 168 bhp 350 Newton meters engine, you get the 6-speed automatic gearbox. You also get sport mode. So in eco mode, you get 300 Newton meters of torque. In city mode, you get 320 Newton meters of torque, and in full sport mode, you get 350 Newton meters of torque. So that's what the sport mode does. And on the automatic gearbox, it also changes the shift points, so makes it more enthusiastic. So sport mode does work. I only wish Tata Motors had also mapped the sport mode to the steering weight. So in sport mode, you get more weight on the steering. Right now, the only real downside is the steering, which is a little too light when you build up speed. You want it to be a little bit heavier, so that would give you more confidence in the car. This steering is direct, I must say that, but it's not that easy to place it with precision, and especially when you're on the highway, when you're overtaking trucks, you get the narrow gap between the truck and the median. Placing it perfectly and accurately is not so easy on the Harrier. What is good on the Harrier is the handling. There is evident body roll. This is an SUV after all, which has to ride comfortably, but it's not exaggerated and it grips quite well. The steering does feel disconnected, so there's not really a lot of feedback coming in, despite this being hydraulic steering and not electric power steering. So it's not communicative. You don't really know what the front wheels are up to, but it's okay. Dynamically, on balance, this actually is the nicest in its segment. The automatic gearbox is obviously more thirsty than the manual, but this automatic is so good, so well matched to the engine characteristics that it would be crazy not to buy it with the automatic. So now that we've familiarized ourselves with the Harrier, let's jump into the Safari and see what's different and what is not so different. Let's start with what's identical between the Safari and the Harrier, and it obviously has to start with the dashboard architecture, which is identical. So you have the same floating infotainment screen, you have the same half analog, half digital cockpit, which I actually like because you get a nice needle for the speedo, you get a digital tacho, and you get a nice MFD. So that's the same. Steering wheel, the same. You get this different ash wood sort of insert on the dash, and you get this dual tone color scheme. So the seats are now in this white, which might be difficult to maintain over the long run, but it looks very nice and sophisticated, also expensive. The door pads also have this black and white theme going around. You get the JBL audio system, which is carried over from the Harrier. What else? The seats, they are the same. The controls on the steering wheel, which don't feel really all that high quality, same as the Harrier. Same with the power window switches, not really very high quality stuff, shared with the Harrier. You get this drive mode selector. This is front wheel drive, exactly like the Harrier. There is no four wheel drive, even though Tata Motors, they say that this platform can be adapted for all-wheel drive. After all, it has been adapted from the D8 platform that Land Rover uses, or at least used to use. But as of now, it still has the torsion beam rear, so there is no provision for all-wheel drive on the Safari. The drive mode selector, you get the different sand and snow mode and all that, but that really just changes the mapping of the engine. It's not going to give you more traction. It's going to limit a little bit of slip so that you don't get stuck all that easily. But this is a front wheel drive SUV. What you do get now, the differences between the Harrier and the Safari. ESP is carried over, 6 airbags carried over, but here you get hill hold assist. The handbrake, that aircraft style handbrake, which was weird to use and we all criticized, that's gone. In its place comes an electronic parking brake. You also get disc brakes at the rear, and you get 18-inch wheels. The Safari is 100 kilos heavier than the Harrier, and obviously they've had to retune the suspension. But while retuning, they focused even more on ride comfort to give the second row and the third row passengers a comfortable ride. And honestly, it has worked wonders. Now, the Harrier, the ride quality on that has always been brilliant. This is even better. When I first started driving this, got out of home, the first 2 speed breakers I took, and I was like, this really has improved on the ride quality of the Harrier. It's something that's next to impossible, but the Safari rides much better than the Harrier. Okay, not much better, but noticeably better than the Harrier, and that's a big thing. This ride improvement has not come at the expense of handling. So you go around a corner, there is body roll and all of that, but it's not exaggerated. It actually can take corners very well, and on typical Indian highways, which is partly broken, the surface changes randomly, this really takes it all in its stride. The comfort, the ride quality, that feeling of indestructibility, that's brilliant on the Safari. In terms of the powertrain, nothing really has changed. So the same 168 bhp 2-liter diesel engine that is made by FCA, it makes 350 Newton meters of torque. You get a 6-speed manual gearbox or a 6-speed automatic. My personal preference is for the automatic, which really suits the character of both the Harrier as well as the Safari really well. In terms of performance, you get 0 to 100 in 11.5 odd seconds, which for a mid-size SUV is actually pretty quick. And this can really get a quick turn of speed. There's a lot of torque, good solid punch. It is quick, and the chassis, it does the engine justice. The whole package is really so well suited to chewing and spitting out miles. It's fantastic to crisscross the country. Few SUVs, maybe a Land Rover Discovery Sport is better than the Harrier/Safari, but otherwise, few SUVs in this class can really chew miles so effortlessly and so enjoyably. Now, some things that shouldn't have been carried over from the Harrier have been, unfortunately. And the most noticeable is the infotainment screen. You project CarPlay or Android Auto onto it, and it does not occupy the entire real estate of the screen. So when you want to press any of those icons, you can never get it right, especially when on the move. And when on the move, everything is so tiny that you have to take your attention away from the road to look at the screen to see that you're pressing the right buttons, that you're pressing the right maps or the music or whatever you're doing. It's not easy because the screen is too small. That they really should have updated. Tata Motors engineers have assured us that these are pre-production prototypes. So in the final production spec of the Safari, the steering weight will be tweaked. This is hydraulic steering, it's not electric steering, so it's not a matter of just changing codes. There will be some re-engineering that is required on this, but they've assured us that they are going to look into it, and the final production Safaris are going to be better in terms of the steering feel. The steering feel is not such a big issue, to be honest, but it's a bit too light, and obviously because it is direct, so that lightness, it changes direction way too easily when you build up speed. So that little bit more weight would give it a little bit more confidence and make you feel more connected with the Safari. Now, while the engine has been carried over unchanged, what they have worked on is NVH, and it is noticeable, the improvements. So at a easy cruise, you're doing 80 kilometers per hour now, put it into 6th gear, there's enough torque to pull you along, and you can't hear the engine. You can hear the buzzing of that speed warning, but that's about it. There is a little bit of wind noise from those big wing mirrors. No major blind spots anymore, but still those wing mirrors are big, and some tire noise from these 18-inch wheels, but otherwise it's quite silent. You can have a conversation even with the kids that you've stuck in the third row. We've put our two interns in the back, and they are healthy characters, so it does look like a squeeze, but you can use that third row at a pinch. It's not absolutely unusable. The Safari is 100 kilos heavier than the Harrier, so it might be slightly slower than the Harrier, but I honestly don't think so, because there's so much of torque that performance comes effortlessly, easily. You can access it all quite easily. You don't really have to row through the gears. And speaking of gears, this manual gearbox, it's a world away from the old Tata Motors manual gearboxes. So now there's no play. This lever, it's not moving. So that main thing is sorted out. It is precise. It's not very slick like Japanese gearboxes, but it's perfectly alright. No complaints. I've driven the Harrier from Pune to Chennai and back, Pune to Delhi and back, done a lot of miles in it all over the country, and I really sincerely believe that it's one of the nicest SUVs that you can crisscross the country with. The Safari, it will be even nicer to drive all over the place. And my spec for the Safari would be with the automatic gearbox and the captain seats in the middle row. Even if you don't need that third row, the captain seats in the middle row, they really do make a big difference. The Tata Safari has been launched for rupees 14.69 lakh rupees ex-showroom, and these are introductory prices. This is between rupees 70,000 to 1 lakh rupees more expensive than the Harrier, with only the XZ variant stretching that gap to 1.35 lakh rupees. Automatics are only available on the XM, XZ and XZ Plus variants, while the captain seats are exclusively offered on the top-of-the-line XZ Plus variant. Feel free to pause the video and take a closer look at the prices. There is also an Adventure Persona variant of the Safari. It gets an exclusive tropical mist paint scheme, blacked out elements on the exterior including wheels, grille, roof rails and door handles. On the inside it gets brown upholstery and an all-black dash with piano black inserts. The Adventure Persona variant is based on the XZ Plus and is available as a manual and an automatic with 6 and 7-seater options. It comes in at a rupees 20,000 premium over the XZ Plus. Now, should this be called the Safari? Well, putting my enthusiast on, I'll throw it down, stamp on it and say that no, this should not be called the Safari. All Safaris have to be four-wheel drive. But if I wear my thinking hat on, fact also is that very, very few people actually spend that premium for four-wheel drive. Even in the earlier Safari, which had four-wheel drive, very few actually spend that lakh and 20,000 more for four-wheel drive. Otherwise, majority were the rear-wheel drive. So would it have made sense for Tata Motors to actually invest the time and especially money into engineering four-wheel drive onto the Safari platform? I don't think so, to be honest. Very few people would have bought it. So what's the point? Of course, Safari still should have been four-wheel drive. And just for the fact that you have a hero car in the showroom where everybody says, oh, reclaim your life, Safari, four-wheel drive, then they buy the front-wheel drive version, maybe that would have made sense. But then in these times, nobody has the money to blow on vanity projects. So overall, the sensible thing has been done. And it is sensible and wise that the Safari is only front-wheel drive for now. And if this does sell well, if enough and more of you actually go out and buy the Safari, then they will have some free cash to engineer four-wheel drive onto this. So fingers crossed. Tata Motors, they've not said no. They've said that this platform is capable of four-wheel drive and eventually they could put four-wheel drive if there is enough demand for it. So, well, we can always wait and watch. But otherwise, in my opinion, the Safari, very nicely done, really very nicely done. These new cars and SUVs from Tata Motors, from actually our homegrown manufacturers, Tata Motors and Mahindra, they've all been hitting the nail on the head. They finally know what we Indians want. They finally got their quality sorted, and they're making desirable head-turning products. So how different is the Safari from the Harrier? Well, from the rear, the two look completely different. From the front, they look bang identical. But there are detailed improvements on the Safari, and that makes it slightly better than the Harrier. First things first, ride quality. The dampers are a little softer, so it rides better. You go over speed breakers. In the Harrier, you can barely feel it. In the Safari, you cannot feel it at all. And that hasn't come at the expense of handling. This still is a nice car to drive. The roofline is different on the Safari compared to the Harrier, and that is what liberates more headroom inside the car. So the third row, it can be positioned slightly higher so you don't feel claustrophobic or hemmed in. Person of my height, I can barely fit in at the back, but I can fit in. So at a pinch, this can be used as a 6 or 7 seater, but it's not going to be used as a 6 or 7 seater all the time, right? This with the captain seats is actually on the money. A lot of people are going to buy the Safari over the Harrier just because of those captain seats, and it makes the middle row really comfortable. In terms of the interior equipment, everything is there, everything and more, and the NVH is better on the Safari. Final thing, Tata Motors engineers, they've also assured us that our feedback that the steering weight is too light at speed, that also will be addressed on the final production cars. This is a pre-production Safari. The final production Safari, Tata Motors engineers assure us that it will be sorted. And if they do that, well, this is a sorted SUV. If you ask me, I think the Safari should have been called a Harrier XL, a lengthened Harrier, a grand limousine kind of Harrier. Not really a Safari, but Tata Motors marketing people, they've done their surveys, they've done their research, they've spoken to customers, and customers that we've been speaking to all seem to love the fact that this is a Safari. So who are we to say? Who are we to complain about whether this is a Safari or not a Safari and all of that? Overall, in terms of the engineering, in terms of the way that they've taken all our feedback on the Harrier and really improved the Safari, they've really done their job, and I think this is on the money. Subscribe to the Evo India channel and hit the bell icon to keep pace with the thrill of driving.